I want to show how other countries end homelessness. To shift gears for a moment, I want to show other countries end homelessness because this is just pure insanity. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, but Finland has ended homelessness. Now, here's how they did it, which is just it's crazy because it's weird. No one has thought of this to try it in the United States. They ended homelessness by buying the homeless somewhere to live. They gave them somewhere to live, each of them. And it ended homelessness. And it also saved the country 15,000 euro per homeless person per year because it's cheaper to give the homeless person a small apartment than to leave them on the street. And you end up obviously paying for the society, the city, whatever, ends up paying for their emergency care treatment, any other care they might get at shelters and things like that. So, and whatever groups they have that are in charge of walking around the streets and trying to find homeless people who need help, all of that you can get rid of if these people have apartments, right? So Finland ended their homelessness, got rid of it, erased it by giving them homes and saved money in the process. And the United States could do this. And in fact, it's been tried. We had a crazy attempt at trying something like this. They did it in Utah. They gave the chronic homeless apartments and a caseworker as well, because many have pointed out that many homeless have mental illness, they have addiction problems, so just giving them an apartment doesn't solve those problems. No, it doesn't. But it solves one of the problems, which is no roof over your fucking head. And it saves the country money. I can't even stress that enough, because a lot of people think that the reason there's homeless is because we don't want to pay for if they're not going to work, if they're too mentally ill to work, if they're having issues, we don't want to pay for it. So, well, I'm not putting up my tax dollars, right? That always begins with my tax dollars and ends with that. You actually save money. The country, the city, whatever, saves money by giving these people a small apartment. In 2008, the Finnish government implemented the Housing First program in an attempt to solve homelessness. Oh, I forgot to finish the Utah story. I'll tell that in a second. The Finnish concluded that to truly defeat homelessness, people must first be given a roof over their heads, as it makes resolving other problems easier. This goes contrary to popular approaches that require employment or other factors to be met first. The nonprofit Y Foundation, for example, works with the government to buy new apartments or renovate existing ones. Then they provide flats to people in need. Residents have a rental contract just like anyone else, and they pay rent from their own pockets or through benefits. Support services also help the people get back on their feet. They're given social services. So Utah tried very similar thing. They gave their homeless apartments. They just gave it to them. Didn't say you have to have a perfect job. Didn't say you have to not be mentally ill. Didn't say you have to not be addicted. They gave them apartments. And not only did they end 95% of all homelessness, they also saved money, several $1,000s per person for the state. Now, I can't remember which year they did that, but they then stopped doing that. So homelessness has returned to Utah. I'm sure those of you in Utah can vouch for the fact that there are now homeless in the cities in Utah. And the reason they stopped doing it was because it was working, because it was working too well. So they didn't want to keep that going on. So they stopped doing that. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Easy solution to homelessness, give them fucking homes. Instead, we do everything we can to not give the homeless homes, to not give them apartments, to not put a roof over their head, even if it's going to cost us more money. We are sitting here as a society going, you know what? I'm willing to pay a little bit extra to make sure they stay on the street, to make sure that guy's life is just as fucking awful as it can be. And sure, he's a veteran, and sure, he's got mental illness, and sure, he's addicted to some stuff. But you know what? I just want to make sure he also doesn't have a roof over his head. So I'm willing to pay a little bit extra to make sure his life fucking blows. I am willing to do that out of my tax dollars. That's how we behave in this country.